Hey, so lots to cover today, and I'll be quick. Lots to cover. Good morning. Uh, wow. Wanted to tell you that I'm grateful that for those that watch this, and I'm always blown away by when people come up to me and say, "I'm enjoying your." Um, your morning videos, and so thank you for sharing that, and encouraging me to continue to do this, and yeah, thanks so much. It's yeah, I appreciate your support. um so where to go? I'm going to tell you a little bit about a couple of things that have been happening really in my life here the last little bit. The um a couple of things that I'm wondering if this is uh, actually working today. I don't know why I have a sense that it isn't. Um, yeah, 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 yeah. It is. All right, here we are. Hi, I'm not so high tech. Hey, do last night. You guys know if you've watched me before that I work part time, relief work at a treatment center. Now, because I work part time doesn't mean that my heart isn't there all the time, because it is. And last night it was so great to go there when we had our what we call our gratitude night, and 11 men finished the 14-week program last night, and it was amazing. It really was. It was like, holy, 11 men. And got to be around when most of these men came in. And, when fellas come to this Fresh Start Recovery Center, um, they're often not in great shape. I mean, they're at the bottom of their game, and really caught in the illusion of, in fear and guilt and shame and confusion and doubt, and it's not a sweet picture. And last night to see all of these men on the stage doing each one of them gave a small talk, when the theme was gratitude for sure, the theme was love, the theme was, the family. It was really sweet last night, and so each one of the men gave a little talk, and their um, facilitator, their guide through the program. It's a 14-week program, and it delves into the 12 steps and lots of other things, to help the men become more aware of themselves, because awareness is power. Awareness is how we begin the process of change, but their guide, Jr., who's a friend of mine, did such a great job. You know, that's a big group to finish with, and because not everybody finishes. It's a 14-week program, and sometimes it's just too much for people, and they bail, or they don't make it. Although at Fresh Start, you really got to screw up to get kind of kicked out of there. It's an amazing place, and they recognize that men come in there, they're gonna have to learn how to deal with life situations, so they deal with them right there, and it isn't always pretty, but what happens is that they recognize, first of all, that the men in the house, and there's usually 45 to 50 men there at any given time, care for them, love them, support them, and are there for them, and they soon feel that they soon feel like, wow, this is home. And so anyway, I was pretty blown away last night. There was a really good turnout, both online, uh, on their Zoom situation, and also on the um, in the gym last night. It was great. There's a big gym there at Fresh Start, and it's first class, really. And there's another facility in Lethbridge. It's called Fresh Start South Country, and some of those folks drove up from Lethbridge to be part of this graduation last night. So it was great, really great. So I want to thank everybody at Fresh Start for allowing me to be part of that. It's it's beautiful to see that these men get a new start, and that love is openly spoken of as the ingredient that makes it all work. The glue that holds it all together is the love the men have for each other, and the love that the counselors and facilitators have for the men and each other, and all the staff that work there are all working towards the same thing, which is really to help these men awaken to this new life, and it's a spiritually based life. So it's pretty. I mean, is there any other? Pretty amazing. All right, enough of that. That was great. I was stoked. I came home last night, fired up, and loved that place. I never imagined that I would, but because I I don't know. I had this idea that it was institutional, and it's not. It's of course it's a there's rules and stuff, but it's not like that. So um, no wonder there's such a long waiting list for people to get in. But things are changing. There's going to be more focus on this, on mental health going forward, and the fact that spiritual awareness shifts our perception, and mental health comes from that. So what do you guys think of that? Anyway, love you. That's fun. So the next thing I wanted to just mention is that yesterday afternoon I had a great interview with Malcolm Saunders. So I'd love it if you go to YouTube and watch that interview. It was really really good. Malcolm owns the light cellar here in town, and it was, we laugh because we never plan. I've interviewed Malcolm 3 or 4 times, and we never plan. We just wing it, and it's always really great. We talked a lot about high vibration foods. We talked about mushrooms and reishi and changa, different types of mushrooms, and how food is has a lot to do with our personal vibration. And I had no idea how powerful reishi mushrooms are. I really didn't. So that was so cool. Hey James, nice to see you, my friend. I can't see anybody on this. I used to do this all on my phone. I could see on my phone who was there, but now I can't see unless you make a comment, and if you make a comment, then I know you're there. So I'd love it if you just say hello or yeah. So anyway, Malcolm Saunders, have a look at that. And James just gave us a heart there, and interviewed James just the other day, and he's gone out and committed to a space, a community space in a big house. And there's a great group of people we're all coming together, and kind of all going to throw $50 in the pot to have this space where we can go and do groups and do healing work and all of that. So I'm excited about James's commitment to that. So that's in an interview too that if you have a look at, you can see what James is doing. Those are both on YouTube, and I've done a bunch of interviews. Also Adrian Bowley and Alice Hung, and all in the last couple of weeks. And Nathaniel, who lives with me, is doing some great stuff with art, and starting his website with all kinds of art pieces on his website. It's beautiful. So, and the other thing I just wanted to mention is that, I mean, it's interesting. One of the things that came up in Malcolm's talk, we did talk about, how there's going to be a lot of grief over the fact that our lives have changed, and our lives are changing drastically, and his projection is that the bulk of the change as a result of what's happened with we've been locked down pretty much for a year, And he's saying that there's going to be a real shakeup, and I agree. And part of that shakeup is that we get kind of depressed, and sometimes we decide that we don't want to stay here on the planet. And we take um, the ultimate decision, which is to end our lives. And I have a friend whose memorial service is today, and I'm going to be part of that or be there. And and it's that I find I can't judge that. I don't, and I think that we do judge that when that happens. We're very confused. We're like, why did somebody do that? And I can't judge that. I just look at it though and recognize that everything changes. So if we're feeling down, if we're feeling, recognize it, breathe, sit, meditate, pick up the phone, and it changes, it shifts. There's um, yeah, it changed. It does change. So, um, yeah. Anyway, we'll be there today to remember him and to send him lots of love and support, wherever he is in the stratosphere, in the ethers. And so that's kind of, we've had a bit of a busy time, busy time. So um, yeah, hope you're doing well. You know, my ingredients always is to be here now. How do we be here now? Well, we kind of practice, you know, and when the mind is just creating all kinds of thoughts and things are rolling around, just stop and breathe and come into the moment. And a little prayer, God, take away my fear, show me what you'd have me to be, or God, take away my anger, and help show me how I can be helpful. Those are all things that can bring us into the moment, and in the moment, right here. Of course, most of us don't realize we haven't been living in the moment because we're so caught up in the who we think we are, and we're not who we think we are. Period. Full stop. You know, if you're caught in a story of trauma or a story of, you know, um, poor me, you're not here. You're in the story. So how do we get here? That's the key. And getting here, as we practice it, when we drop that, it melts away, and we let it go. I mentioned in my interview with Malcolm that I'm very blessed. I'm part of a men's group where we talk about consciousness once a week. We get together for 3 hours on Thursday nights outdoors. It's amazing. Even this old guy, I dress warm and go and do it, and it's important to have community. So, it, and I'm also in the very active in the 12-step world, and um, and that lifts me up. It lifts us all up when we help others, when we're there for others, we're there to listen. you know so again, my recipe also is pick up the phone today and call somebody today that you think might need a call. It's okay to say, I just called to see how you are. It's really okay to say, I just called to see how you are, and then let the conversation go where it needs to go. Okay. So I mean, that's called spreading the love, isn't it? That is love. And when we reach out to others, and if you're feeling down, pick up the phone and call somebody and say, hey, you got a minute? And share. Try not to be too much in the problem, but just share. This is what's happening, and sometimes we just pop out of it. We just pop out of it. I had somebody call me the other night and say, I'd like to get together with you to talk about something that she wanted to share and talk about, and I believe that just her calling to say that she wanted to get together to talk about it, and helped her pop out of it. We never did get together to talk about it, but we kind of made plans to eventually get together to talk about it. I think she popped out of it. It was like, oh, whatever it was, it had her kind of, you know, in there, you know. So anyway, love you guys lots. And we're going to read. I read every day. Sometimes I forget, actually. I have done this. I have literally done this. Got to the end of whatever chat I wanted to have and forgot to read. Uh, but this all started last May, May the 1st. I thought, you know, because things were tight. We didn't know then. We still don't know, but we didn't know then how long this might go on, you know. And I knew that people were feeling really confined and locked down, and back in May, and I just thought, well, let's do this, something I can do on a daily basis, and to reach out to you know, bring a little love to you, and so I picked this book, which you know, I've had for years and years and years, and maybe haven't been as religious about reading as I am now. And was written in 19 or published in 1954, and it was the early days of the 12-step program. You know, really, Bill Wilson and Dr. Bob Smith, who were the first two real members, met in 1935, June 10th, I think, 1935, and the book, the AA text. You know, it's what it is. It's a text. It's not a, you know, it's to be read and studied like a text. And it was published in 1939. So this was published in 54 by a member, and he did beautiful. He did beautiful. I read his story. He was actually writing this in the 40s, and finally got around to publishing it in 54. January 28th, thought for the day. What a load hangovers put on your shoulders. Hangovers. So he talks a lot in January, kind of about step one and about the drinking days, you know. What a load hangovers put on your shoulders. Remember hangovers? Oh, I can't. I used to get so sick. Oh, Jesus. You know, I remember thinking, I'm so young. I was in my 20s. How come I get so sick? I would get like 2 days sick. You know, I'd have to drink to get over my hangover. And so thank God that's gone. What terrible physical punishment we've all been through. Yes, I used to get so sick. The pounding headaches, the jumpy nerves, the shakes, the jitters, the hot and cold sweats. When you come into the 12-step world and stop drinking, that terrible load of hangovers falls off your shoulders. What a load remorse puts on your shoulders. The terrible mental punishment we've all been through. Ashamed of the things we said and did. Afraid to face people because of what they might think of us. Afraid of the consequences of what we did when we were drunk. What an awful beating the mind takes. When you come into the 12-step world, into AA, that terrible load of remorse falls off your shoulders. Freedom, baby. Freedom. You know, the neat thing about the work that I get to do, you know, one-on-one, it's volunteer work, but it's really my job, is to work with guys that, you know, sometimes are really, I mean, they're just in the very first day or two of it, you know, so it's beautiful. Meditation for the day. When a man seeks to follow the way of the Spirit, it frequently means a complete reversal of the way of the world which he has hitherto followed. That's a hitherto would be a word from the 40s and 50s, wouldn't it? Hitherto, up until now, which he has up until now followed. But it is a reversal that leads to happiness and peace. Do the aims and ambitions that a man usually strives for bring peace? Mm-mm. Do the world's awards bring heart rest and happiness? Or do they turn to ashes in the mouth? So he's talking about solid ground, which is, of course, a spiritually based life. And, you know, there's lots of things to sort out for many of us, because we come to recovery, and we don't have a real understanding that we can kind of own or believe in around a higher power. And what's beautiful in the 12-step world is that we get to work on that and to create our own relationship with a higher power and experience with a higher power. and call him God if you want, or universal intelligence, or Father of Light, or the ancestors, whatever you call it is fine. But it becomes a real experience, and it's beautiful. Prayer for the day. I pray that I may not be weary, disillusioned, or disappointed. I pray that I may not put my trust in the ways of the world, but in the way of the Spirit. Ta-da! Isn't that beautiful? Yes, it is. So we're going to meditate for a few minutes. I'd love you to join us. And I do this meditation part because, oh, it's a, it's again, it's one of those things that seems confusing for a lot of people. I run into people all the time when they say, "I can't meditate. I can't meditate," and because they're confused with the word. So we don't meditate. We sit. Okay, that's what I call it, sitting. I call it meditation too, but it's really sitting and sitting quietly. And I mean, it really can be and is that simple. So we're going to sit quietly for a few minutes and just allow, you know, allow. Actually, we'll just observe the world, the inner world, the outer world. We'll just watch the mind for a while and recognize that the mind has been the prison we've been living in. And, I'm fancy myself a freedom fighter. I'm here to help break you out of that story, that ongoing chatter of the mind to a quiet place. And in meditation, we practice finding that quiet place and observing the mind without a struggle. No struggle. We're not against anything. The mind has served us. And it, for the most part, thinks it still is. But we're going to relieve it of that duty and find a new manager. And the new manager is, our higher power. And the whole process, like of the 12 steps, is to bring us to that. Literally, that's it. Its primary purpose is to bring us to that awakening, that relationship with a higher power. And most all spiritual paths are to help us find this relationship so that we can live in harmony. So not by doctrine and not by, what we've been told is right or wrong, but to live in harmony in each moment. And our vibration is lifted to love, unconditional love for others and ourselves. We are eternal light. We are love. So we become aware of that. And there's a process, but it works. It does. And I'm excited to share it with people one-on-one or any way you'd like. Okay, are we ready? I think we're ready. So get yourself in a bit of a comfortable position, and that's kind of rule number one. People say, well, how do I meditate? Well, start with a comfortable position. And can be sitting up, can be laying down, but I prefer sitting up. And, hopefully you're in a space that's reasonably quiet, but it doesn't have to be. Whatever sounds are happening around you, just include them. There's no need to be in a perfectly silent place. There's hardly anywhere on the planet that's perfectly silent. There's always sounds, so just include them. Just include them. So as we sit, and we then come to our breath. The breath is a vehicle, if you will, into the moment. So as you're sitting, and you bring your focus to your breath, you truly are here in this moment. And as we sit here, and we begin the process, for me anyway, to watch my thoughts. So thoughts will continue to happen. Maybe your whole life, they will continue during this sitting time. The trick is to just don't give them any energy. Gently Gently, don't give them any energy. Just let them go. Just let them go. They're just part of the scenery. They're like the sounds that we incorporate or we include. The thoughts, just include them without attachment. There they are, like clouds in the sky. They just move on. We give them no energy, they just move on. And we do get caught up in them. Just come back to the breath. Come back to the breath. There we are. Just allow ourselves to drop in that quiet space. Okay. Just come back when you're ready. Gently. Just come back. Hey. Wow. I kind of lose track of how long we've been there. Love you guys. Just wanted to say that mind will say, wow, we don't need to meditate. We're too busy to meditate. whatever you do with the rest of your day, it will be, you know, more, more gold in your day, more power in your day, more awareness in your day, more love in your day because of a morning practice. So I encourage you. Love you lots. See you. Drop by YouTube and like our channel. Thanks.